Every couple years in the NBA, there's a guy that enters the NBA draft that you look at his entire skill set and you just say, if he can put it all together, this can get scary. And that's exactly how I felt about Anthony Edwards from the moment he touched down into the NBA for the first time. And after an up and down rookie season that ended pretty promisingly, he built on what he did in the second half of that year, going into his second season. And in that, he became a better scorer, upping his scoring from about 19.3 to 21 points per game, become a better rebounder, a better passer, a better defender, and overall more efficient from the field, all while taking even more shots. The man showed so much potential going into this year that it honestly made a lot of people wonder if he could become the best player in the NBA at some point, because the talent was literally just oozing out of every part of this man's paws. And while for one, some people were willing to give him some time, it seems like the Minnesota Timberwolves as a franchise is ready to win now. They have a very good core and a very good lock of talent, and they can't keep wasting it just in case maybe Cat gets fed up and asks for a trade. So they threw in everything they could and grabbed Rudy Gobert. And while the draft capital they gave up to receive Rudy Gobert was pretty high, the players they gave up though, the best player they gave up was Jared Vanderbilt in my eyes, and to be honest, Rudy Gobert is better in almost every single facet of the game. Rudy Gobert is one of the most elite rim protectors the league has ever seen, a virtual lock to make your defense a top 10 in the league when he's on your roster. He's one of the greatest lob threats in the league right now, and he's basically automatic the moment you get him the ball around the rim. And side note, being on a team that's not the Utah Jazz, where it seems like your best player on that team hated you and didn't want to feed you the ball in the paint at all, I think you'll see some offensive jumps from Rudy since he's been out of that situation. But in getting Rudy Gobert, this sent a very clear message to the rest of the league and to the Timberwolves internally that we're ready to win now. And if that's the case, Anthony Edwards next season needs to take that jump into superstardom. While some people had very much hopes for D'Angelo Russell, it seems like D'Lo has kind of peaked and he looks kind of out of shape going into this season, which is another scary thing so far. But right now I understand that Cat is one of the best bigs, probably the third best big in the game right now. But the talent that Anthony Edwards has, he can definitely take over the reins as the number one option on this team. And if he does become a superstar, you create a dynamic offensive duo that can rarely be matched by anyone else in this league. So with that being the expectation, the only question is, can he do it? And honestly, all signs point to, well, an overwhelming yes. The man has so much talent, and he's a mix of so many great qualities from so many great shooting guards from before him. It's honestly insane. The scoring and poise and isolation of a James Harden, the elite slashing and body control around the rim to finish of a D Wade, the defensive versatility of a Kobe Bryant or a Michael Jordan, the competitiveness of a Kobe Bryant, the playmaking ability of a D Wade when he does need to become a better passer. He's just a mix of all the great shooting guards of some of their best qualities, and if he's able to put it all together, the man could be one of the greatest players to ever touch a basketball and may actually bring Minnesota to some relevancy since having Kevin Garnett. But looking at his overall developed skill set as a scorer, the man has just gotten better as his career has gone on, and even though it's only been 2 seasons, the jump between the first and the second is honestly insane. The man basically became more efficient from every single part on the floor while abandoning some of the more inefficient jump shots that are in his bag. He took a little bit less of those long 2s and made them 3s, and now this season so far he's also basically become uber efficient at the rim and way more efficient from every single spot on the floor. Basically going from the mid 20s to low 30% to mid 30% to 40% from every single area, and going from only 33% from 3 to 36% on some of the high difficulty and high isolation 3s that he does take. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the absolute elite showing he showed in his very ever first playoff series. And while the Minnesota Timberwolves kind of shot the bed and literally let a lot of those games go because they should have won that series in probably like 5 or 6 games, Anthony Edwards was not the largest reasons why they sucked in the last moments of those games. While he did lack discipline and took a lot of difficult shots, right now I blame somebody like D'Angelo Russell, who's the point guard of this team that should be handling a lot of the responsibilities and calming this team down, and he simply never did that. He fed into a lot of the bad shots and then forced his team to lose a lot of those leads. But Anthony Edwards, while in the playoffs, averaged 25 points per game, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 1.5 steals, 1.5 blocks on 45% shooting and 40% from 3 on 9.5 attempts per game. Such promising and insane performances for one so young that it's just really hard not to see the superstar that everybody else sees in him. But I want to keep myself back a little bit because it's the same way I felt about the other Minnesota Timberwolves that had this much talent in his career and just wasted it. Well, not wasted it, it just was utilized wrong on the wrong team, and that's Andrew Wiggins. Right now, But I think Anthony Edwards is a little bit different in the sense that he has a mentality and a feel to his game that fits the superstar build. Andrew Wiggins never really did. Andrew just went out, took his 20 to 25 shots, gave you 20 to 25 points, and that was his day. Anthony Edwards, the man's going out there giving you borderline elite levels of defense, pretty good playmaking, and efficient shooting ability from all over the floor, all while being able to play pretty well in the flow of the offense and not just being isolated in the mid-range and taking tough jumpers. And when you talk about his defensive versatility, being 6'4", 6'5", but built like a damn tank with some elite athleticism and some pretty long arms, the man is built to be a great defender. And right now, last season, he showed a lot of promise within the passing lanes, being able to read certain passes, being able to read defenders' eyes. He's able to stay in front of his man majority of the time. In a pick and roll situation, he doesn't give up on plays and he does recover well. Now, while that does mean he also is kind of gambles a little bit too much on the defensive end for steals, and he does get out of play sometimes. Overall, those are just things that you can fix as time goes on, since again, he's only entering his 3rd year into the NBA. But just looking at the overall scope of things, I honestly can't say I can find a bad part of this man's game. And if he's able to continuously improve, the Minnesota Timberwolves will be one of the scariest teams in the NBA for years to come. But nobody's got to think in the comment section down below. Do you feel like Anthony Edwards is going to become a superstar next season? With that being said, this FLB, that's my time, and I'm out.